Now, once upon a time in professional wrestling, it used to matter what the fans thought.
For example, all you parents out there with kids, when your kids misbehave, you give the New Day a call. The New Day comes over to your house, and we will fight your children.
Now, don't get me wrong. A lot of wrestling sucks. But when it's good, it's fucking great. Wrestling is melodrama. Wrestling is mythology. Wrestling is action. Wrestling is comic books. The only thing wrestling isn't is wrestling.
Who wants to take back professional wrestling?
Welcome everyone to episode 106 of Around the Ring. As always, I am your host, Floyd Johnson. As you will not, your Floyd Savior, Floyd Johnson. I forgot my own nickname. If you hear today, you will not hear the smooth soundings of Silky Dave Brown. He is on vacation this week, or on assignment as we like to call it. So I'm going to try to quarterback this show without him. If you might hear, I might be just a little bit nervous because he's actually the one that brought me into this podcasting world. So doing my first show without him is a little weird. But you know what? When they say when you want it to be your first time, you want to do it with people that you're familiar with. So today, joining me today is the Professor, Jeffrey Harris. He was on the show previously. We didn't get to really do much of an introduction for him because he joined the show a little late. We were having some technical issues with Skype. Go ahead and say hello, Jeff.
Hey, what up, people?
How you doing this morning?
Doing good. Got my pizza for breakfast, and I'm on it.
Also joining us today, and this is our first time guest, is the chairman of Around the Ring, my closest friend, the person I've known longer than anyone, my hetero life mate, Jason Threat. Jason, go ahead and say hello.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
So we're going to start the show, just a little introduction with them. You're not very familiar with them, so they're just going to get you a little history into their past as the wrestling fans. Jeff, how long have you been watching wrestling?
I've been watching wrestling since 1986, brother. My in California, my mom took me to the San Diego Sports Arena, and I'll never forget it. It was a wrestler by the name of S.D. Jones versus Mr. Wonderful Pandolf. It was a house show, but to a 5-year-old kid, I wouldn't know the difference, and I've been hooked ever since.
For you that don't know, S.D. Jones holds one of the worst records you could ever hold.
Yep.
Losing in WrestleMania history in the quickest match to Kennedy, and I think it was like 6 seconds. It hung around until actually Daniel Bryan lost the record when losing to Sheamus on a bro kick and he bro kicked him and immediately pinned him. I think the total match lasted like 4 seconds or something like that. But who is your favorite wrestler of all time, Jeff?
There's two. I have The Undertaker, and I have the Macho Man Randy Savage.
Oh, two good picks. Macho Man,
my guy.
Macho Man's part of the Around the Ring Hall of Fame. Undertaker, pretty sure he's a first ballot Hall of Famer in any Hall of Fame that you might want to have. What's your fondest memory of either one of them, or both of them?
Well, with Randy Savage, my great memory of him is just a TV set to me when I was little. Whether it was Slim Jim commercial, and whether it was on Baywatch, it didn't matter. For some reason, that guy, his intensity, his personality, his voice, I mean, he was just a star to me. And Undertaker always had that illusion. Once he really, really hit in the early, mid-'90s, I was old enough kind of not to be afraid of him. His slow, quick movements, the way he talked, Paul Bearer. It was really creepy, but I enjoyed it though. He was a great showman to me. And also, I was there. Him versus Shawn Michaels Part 1 in Houston was the greatest match I ever seen.
And that was that's an excellent match. People have talked about great cheerleaders in wrestling this week. I mean, as far as those back-to-back matches between Shawn and Undertaker, those are probably the two of the best matches combined I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, and number 3 is Macho Man versus Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, one of WrestleManias too. I got to throw that in there.
Everyone loves that match, and unpopular opinion, I thought it was all right.
Yeah. Okay. and the Macho Man, he made Diamond Dallas Page too. So DDP, Yoga, all this stuff, Macho Man Randy Savage made it.
Yeah,
I'm done.
He told him he was going to take the Diamond Cutter on Monday Night Nitro. So, yeah, it did really put DDP on the map.
Yep.
Well, Mr. Threat, it's a perfect wrestling name, right? How long have you been watching wrestling?
Oh man, as far as I can remember, I was introduced to it very young age. I want to say I was like 5, 6 years old. Of course, I grew up watching, Saturday Night Wrestling. And another thing, what really got me into it is I remember like one of my first matches when we was in Dallas was watching the Von Erichs when they used to be
nice,
back in the day. So that really I remember vividly. I don't know if it was my first match I really went to, but I remember that vividly. That I saw the Von Erichs, up close in front, and then of course, I got caught on to at the time WWF. How they glorified it and everything. So it turned into something that I enjoyed. So that's how I got started. My origins of wrestling.
Well, and I feel like your answer is going to be similar. But who's your favorite wrestler?
Like I said, I got started through the Von Erichs, but typically mine is going to be Hulk Hogan because that's what and I was a part of the Hulkamania. He told me to eat my vitamins. I ate my vitamins. He told me to do my prayers, so I got on one knee and did my prayers. So he sensationalized it, and I loved every last aspect of it. And then once I got hooked, that's how I got to watching, like he said, Macho Man, the Ultimate Warrior, Sergeant Slaughter. The whole thing was awesome to me. So, like I said, Hulk Hogan is my number one guy if I had to pick.
And what is your fondest memory of Mr. Hogan? I know he has a lot as far as wrestling, as far as all of us. What would you say is your biggest memory of Hulk Hogan?
Oh man, my fondest memory, I probably can't pick just one, but like I said, he was the number one guy. I can remember matches with Andre the Giant, him and I can't even think of his name right now. When he used to have flag matches with
Iron Sheik.
What's that? Yeah. So there you go. So I'm saying it's so many different times, even against Macho Man and like the Ultimate Warrior and everything. He just had so many different matches, and he seemed like he was the he was the number one entertainer, and he did everything and all. So, and like I said, he just had so many over the time, from him being a good guy to him turning heel. He polarized the sport basically.
He is the one person that I can say of all time he's a top 5 heel and a top 5 face, which that's crazy. When he was a good guy, he was the number one good guy. When he was a bad guy, he was the number one bad guy. I think he did win most popular wrestler and most hated wrestler in years.
Right.
So that is impressive as far as Hulk Hogan. Let me tell y'all a little bit more about both of these people. They are in my group called The Club. And what both of them bring unique things to the group. Jeff, who I've known 20 plus years, he is I call him the professor, not because that's just his profession, because he generally asks the deeper questions on our group. He definitely asks, like, how you feel about certain situations and how the product has changed over the years. You can generally count on him for a question that's going to cause a good conversation. As far as Jason, like every stable, every faction needs an enforcer. What every elite wrestling group needs is a casual fan. And why I say that is because, you know, we all are extreme. We are hardcore fans. And, of course, we look through the pinhole of the WWE, what we want to see, who should be winners, who should be champions. Jason brings the perspective of someone that will watch something else if wrestling's not good. So he's going to say like a normal person, someone that likes Hulk Hogan or people like that, he's going to tell us exactly in the show why he's not watching or why he isn't watching. Like, I will say, man, I think this is a really good idea. And then my hardcore fans will be like, man, that would be perfect. Everybody watching. Jason's like, maybe. I'll probably just gonna watch football that night. So it's actually what you need because it brings you perspective. Like, all of us are throwing our money at WrestleMania and whatever pay-per-views coming through. Jason needs to know what the card is before he decides if he's going to the show. So that is what that is what he provides. He provides our group is perspective. So I'm glad y'all got to Jason and Jeff. I'm glad you joining me today. Like I said, it's my first time doing this without Dave, so I'm really glad to have y'all. And let's talk about this week in wrestling. Again, these are more of the Raw, and we're just going to go about Raw and SmackDown. And like we like to do on the show, because if it really was memorable, you remember, do y'all have any talking points from Raw that really stuck out to you?
Go ahead, Jason.
I really don't have a big thing that stuck out because I know it's like in that kind of transition because I know they're kind of set up for SummerSlam, but you know it's not fully that they fully went aggressive with everything just as yet. But only my sticking point is that I kind of like what they're doing with the card with Braun Strowman, Roman Reigns, Samoa Joe, and of course Brock Lesnar. I wish Brock Lesnar would be on there a little bit more. I think they could sell a little bit more if he was on there more consistently. But I know it's within his contract, so you don't have to be there. But that's one of my sticking. One of the things that sticks out to me was that. I mean, I know that's the main thing, and everybody, that's what they're trying to keep everybody in hold with. So that sticks out. The other thing, I'm just hoping and wishing they would do something between The Miz and Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose. I mean, just like I said this with Floyd earlier this week. I mean, you kind of get tired of looking at Miz and Dean Ambrose every single week. They got to do something different with that. I kind of like the angle with Seth Rollins, but, at least let Seth Rollins be in the actual picture for the title instead of just doing this little three-way thing. Those are the big two things that stuck out with me. So, it was I said average Raw, like I said, I know they're trying to build up for more. So, but that was my two sticking points, I should say.
And Jeff, will anything stick out to you, or do you want to elaborate on anything Jason said?
I'll elaborate a little. I mean, the triple threat match with Braun Strowman, Roman Reigns, and Samoa Joe, I'm actually looking forward to. I mean, we've seen Braun and Roman, but I think injecting Samoa Joe into that fight is exciting to me. Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, we've seen this go around and around and around. I know they're giving both guys something to do. I've heard rumors that this could be a Dean Ambrose heel turn, which I think is needed. Kind of like a refresh with him. Mm-hmm. I see that Jason Jordan may be on Miz TV, and I hope that's a feud because I think Miz can really get him over because Miz, with Kurt Angle being this guy's dad, Miz has a lot of, I guess, material to go after. And I like the Miz. I think he's a good bad guy. He should never be a good guy ever. And I like that he has his Miz entourage, and when he had Sandown and when he had all these people, I think it's pretty funny. And I think he's going to bring a lot of personality out of Jason Jordan, because that's a knock that I've been hearing people say with him, is that, yeah, he's a great wrestler, great looking athlete, good kid, but, where's his personality at? And pairing him with someone like The Miz is going to be really, really, really good. Hopefully, Jason Jordan can build and hold his own against him. I like what the Hardy Boys are doing as far as with the new tag teams, the Revival, and going back and forth with what they're doing. I like the way Raw is utilizing those two guys. I think they're doing a way better job with them than they did with the Dudleys when the Dudleys came back, in my opinion. The girls, the women, excuse me, I shouldn't call them the women. Sooner or later, they need to turn Sasha, in my opinion. They need to turn Bayley. I like Bayley, but this may not be the most popular thing to say. I'm kind of getting tired of the nice hugging. I don't want to beat someone without cheating. I'm going to smile. Even though Sasha Banks helps me win, I'm not going to acknowledge it. I'm going to love her and going to hug her. Okay. I know she's good for the young girls in the crowd, and she's the female All-American Cena, for example. But, I think they need to turn Sasha, and her and Sasha can have a feud. I don't know what they're doing with Alexa and Nia Jax. She's like her bodyguard. But if you follow them on Instagram, they're best buddies, and they hang out, they eat each other's snow cones and all this other kind of stuff. It's really interesting to see what they're going to go as far as leading up to SummerSlam with the women. I do like Elias Sampson. I like that guy. I do. I like him. Him and Finn Balor have really had a good feud. I hope they keep it going. And Floyd, you mentioned to me about reactions. When Elias hit Finn Balor with the guitar, and his head was bleeding and stuff. Again, I look at my wife because she doesn't really watch it. She was like, "Wow, I bet that really hurt." I mean, he cracked him good, man. But I like Elias Sampson. I like the way they brought him in. Remember, he was just playing the guitar, kind of quiet to himself. But that guy gets a lot of heat when he sits there and plays that guitar and sings his songs. I've noticed with WWE, whenever they have a person with a live microphone, with an instrument in the middle of the ring, we've seen it with The Rock, when Mr. Kennedy was there. Whenever they give someone an instrument and they sit there in the ring, that really, really, really generates a lot of heat. So I like it. Is there anything I'm missing, Jason or Floyd, or Raw?
I honestly just gonna say my piece. The beginnings of Raw, like the last 5 weeks, like little over a month, have been perfect. It hasn't been one guy standing in the ring for 20 minutes just going on and on and on. It's like it's really jumped into it and jumped into the storyline that they've got. Again, this week was no different with Kurt Angle going through who he was going to be, who was going to be the number one contender. I thought that was really cool that, everybody came out and made their point. I mean, it's a common, it's something that's happened in wrestling before. But these three guys, the Braun Strowman, who has just found his groove like no one I would have never predicted. I mean, he has really found his groove as a character. I mean, he had this line in it. He's like, I don't care, I don't care about if it's a tag or a singles match, a fatal four-way, a handicap match. All I care about is dropping bodies. It was the perfect line for Braun Strowman. I just thought I think it just drove home his character. And Samoa Joe is just so intimidating. Samoa Joe is the one guy on the show that's not as necessarily as big as Brock Lesnar or Braun Strowman, but you have no problem that he can beat them up. With Roman Reigns, it's like, he's super Roman. But Samoa Joe, he just carries that demeanor of toughness. He just looks like the guy at the end of the bar with the beer that doesn't say much and then smashes it across your face and beats the crap out of you. He's going to do whatever it takes to win. I love that about him. the whole Elias Sampson thing, it's very cool to see. Moving on to that, it's very cool to see where they're trying to build another feud, but they also use that to give Elias Sampson a rub. You know what I mean? I mean, he wasn't supposed to be Finn Balor. A common argument was that Finn Balor was just going to run through him real quick. And not only, he used it, he gets the pin on Finn Balor. Then they use that to set up the Finn Balor, Bray Wyatt feud, which I'm very excited because I'm hoping at SummerSlam that leads to the Demon versus Finn Balor. Demon versus Bray Wyatt. I hope we actually get the Demon paint, because my unpopular opinion about Finn Balor is when he's not wearing the paint, he's boring. It sucks. I know there's a lot of hours that it takes to put on that paint, but to me, he should always be wearing it, because without the paint, you notice his moves, and he just does the same stuff every match. Which you could say that about any wrestler, but it's just like he does it in the same order to where you can really, really tell it's the same moves. Let's see.
Floyd, I mean to cut you off there, but I noticed you, myself, Jason, we have yet to mention Enzo and Big Cass, and Big Cass beating the crap out of Enzo again.
Well, that's, as you said, none of us mentioned it, so it shows you how much I just did got going.
Well,
so
everybody has that. You have that kickoff feud. He's a heel, and his kickoff feud is with Enzo, and they don't want to move him past Enzo too quick because they probably don't have anything to do with Enzo. And Enzo is one of Triple H's favorites. It's more than known. Enzo actually got signed without ever training in wrestling. So he's one of Triple H's boys. Triple H is going to do his best to not let him become irrelevant. So if Cass just moves on to the next feud without Enzo kind of being involved, that leads him somewhere. That leads him somewhere in the dust. We was talking about this week. Me and my friends were talking about what to do next with Enzo, and I think he has to be someone's mouthpiece. I think a move to SmackDown might help him to get him away from Cass, because as long as him and Cass are on the same show, people are going to associate them together and either want to see them feud or be like, well, I'm tired of seeing them anywhere near each other. It's kind of like with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. I think they just need to be on different shows for a while so they can establish their own characters, whatever that is.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think, he has to have his first feud. Generally, most people's first feuds are boring unless it's a big heel change. I'm hoping Triple H becomes more of an on-screen character and he starts doing more with Big Cass. I think that would be cool. Because he needs a rub. Yeah. He really does. He needs someone to really drive home the fact that he's a heel.
Yeah.
Beating up Big Show and not doing it.
But with Big Cass, he ain't really a talker like that. So, and that was a great thing about with him and Enzo. But I feel he needs some kind of push, and I think that's the same thing. That's kind of how I feel with Big Cass. I think they just don't have nobody for him, so that's why they kind of tag him up with Big Show and have that little feud going for right now until they can figure out what they want to do with him. With Enzo, man, it's hard with Enzo's because it's like, after this, because I almost think he probably needs to be, and this is just a thought, thinking about he needs to be having to rebrand him or something like that. Kind of take him away for a little bit, and maybe get his wrestling skills up, and then have him come back, either like you said in SmackDown, and kind of move him away from that, or stick him. I don't even oppose the fact of him being a cruiser. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah. Go ahead.
All right. Yeah, you were in the mid thought. And then I just stopped hearing you.
Yeah, I lost you.
Well, I don't know what y'all heard and didn't hear, but I'll just say that I just think with Enzo, I just hope he doesn't get lost in the shuffle. I think he might need a rebranding, where he might need to go away, sharpen up his wrestling skills, or maybe go back to help. Maybe he can help out with the cruiserweights, something, just to keep him in the rotation. I just don't want him to get lost in the shuffle. I say with Big Cass, he's a big guy, so he's not going nowhere. So he's gonna be able to have them do something, because the WWE loves big guys, so they ain't gonna lose him in the shuffle. But like you said, Triple H, that's just a guy. So I just don't want him to get not be reveling anymore. I like Enzo, and that's pretty much all I was saying.
Enzo, they teased this, but maybe a year or two ago. It was a quick tease, and nothing much came out of it. When he was going back and forth with Xavier Woods about Xavier Woods' trombone, if you look at Enzo and Xavier Woods, Enzo's a little bit taller, burly, and I know Xavier's in New Day and they're doing so well, but man, to get a good feud with those two guys on the mic, I think it'll be a lot of magic. Enzo has a lot of stuff he can kind of subliminally attack Xavier Woods about. Xavier Woods, I think, can go back at him. I think that would be a really, really good feud. I remember they teased it about a year ago, but nothing really came out of it when Enzo and Big Cass were together when New Day was on Raw. But that's something I would look forward to as far as seeing those two guys, because I look at their mic skills, their height, they're about the same. Xavier is a little different. I think a little better in the ring. But I think those two guys will have a really, really good feud.
I completely agree. I think we're missing. We're the great mic guy is what we're missing right now. I think that's a reason. I don't know if it's permanent, but just kind of skipping ahead, we'll bring back. But that's the reason Jericho came back on SmackDown. It's just these great people that can control the crowd with the mic. The Miz is amazing at it. He doesn't let you cheer him. He does a really good job of being who he is, and it's just slow. Like having Enzo. Enzo is a utility player that you can't go without, because he's so good on the mic. He's so good at getting the crowd into it, even when it might not be the most entertaining part of the show. I was gonna ask on Raw, what did y'all think of Jason Jordan's finisher? That backdrop into a neck breaker.
I liked it. It was a little bit different, but that's what I'm like with him. It's so early with him. What they're trying to do is he can. That's cool for right now, but you know what I'm saying. I don't know. It's just that we don't have a what's the word I'm looking for? We don't know his personality as of yet. So it's kind of like he's fresh face as a singles wrestler. So he's got time to figure out what he wants to do and everything. But I do like it though.
I like it, Floyd, but is Cedric Alexander good? No. Cedric Alexander has the best finish in WWE, in my opinion. Man, that looked like that legitimately hurt you. But I do like his finish though. I like it.
Yeah, I was hoping they kind of drove home the fact that he was a Kurt Angle's son and have him do the angle slam. I don't want him to use the ankle lock, but I was hoping they used the angle slam. That was more of I had my expectations and I saw something else. It's just I've seen that move used as a setup move so much that driving it home as a finisher in my mind, again, here's crazy hardcore fan guy, just, it didn't really sit with me as a finisher. And he might be using something different every week or something like that. He might be trying to work it out, or they might try to do a thing where Kurt Angle's telling him to use his finisher, and he's like, "Well, I'm gonna be my own guy." Hopefully, it's something like that. Another thing I saw on the internet this week. So they had the Revival versus Gallows and Anderson, right?
Yep.
Pretty much every tag team in Raw is a heel tag team, the traditional heel tag team, versus only the Hardys as the only face tag team now that they broke up Enzo and Cass. So I know Heath Slater and Rhino technically, but they don't even get any TV time. So what do y'all think about that? Do you think this is just evolution of wrestling, where it really doesn't matter who's the heel and who's the face? Everyone's just trying to win? Or what do y'all think about the overbalance of heels versus face tag teams on Raw?
I mean, here's my thing, Floyd and Jason. The Hardys, I don't want to get to the point where they're overworked. Being that they're the only, face team, and they have all these heel tag teams that they're going against, Sheamus and Cesaro, the Revival, all these other. Well, and I did hear some cheers though for Anderson and Gallows. It was a little bit, but I did hear some.
That was the point that I was going to make. When I was watching it, it felt like they was trying to make Gallo and Anderson the face against the Revival. So I don't know if that's what they're trying to do, is trying to make them more likable. And that's why they probably put them against the Revival, because I guess I think with the Revival is that they want them to stay the quote-unquote heel tag, and for the time being, at least have Gallo and Anderson not necessarily be face, but be the other side of that. So then that's why I'm sorry to cut you off, Jeff. It's just the fact that I thought about that when you said they got some cheers, when they had some cheers and everything, and I was like, I did hear them get cheers, and I'm like, and they kind of played off of it, like, hey, you're gonna run with that. So to me, I like what they were doing, because that was something interesting. It was something different that we haven't seen, was in that aspect. I would like to think that WWE is trying to evolve in that kind of situation, and hopefully they do. But I don't know. It's just, I felt like they were trying to make them more face in that situation, I should say.
All right.
And Floyd, maybe this is just the old school in me. I like heels versus faces. I really do. I mean, I know we can do face versus face. I mean, we've seen that, several times, and it works. But I like heels versus faces. If there's turns, if there's double turns and all that stuff, all right, I get it, cool. But I like the heel versus face.
Okay. Another thought process I had is with Gallows and Anderson. I mean, I've always been afraid of them being lost in the shuffle. And I feel like Finn Balor is at a point in time where he's kind of just there.
I agree.
This question is actually specifically for Jason, as more of the casual fan, and you've heard of the Bullet Club, and do you think it's time to put those three together and do the club, as like really stick with that club thing? I think, me personally, think it'll be a way to make it fresh. But how do you feel about it? I know you're probably not as passionate about it as any of us would be. So what do you think?
Right. And honestly, I'm the kind of person, sorry about it, somebody's like speeding through here like a bandit, my bad. I'm just loud. But I always like, with me, I like new stuff. So for me, like, I'm not as of aware of the Bullet Club and how they all came and all that stuff and where they came from. So to me, it would be new for me. So hey, if that's what y'all want to do, and that keeps Finn Balor relevant, because like I said, I feel like he's getting lost in the shuffle, because usually he's the first match right after the intro. You know what I'm saying? After everybody does the intro, it's usually Finn Balor versus whoever. At that point in time, and that's I'm like, he can't even get in the 8 o'clock slot now. At one point, you was a Universal Champion until you got hurt. So, yeah, I don't want Finn Balor to get lost in the show, because I think he could be good for business. And then like I said, for the casual fan, for reactions, like my kids watching with me, they like Finn Balor. They, he comes out, he does the whole thing with his arms and everything. My kids does that. So, it's not like he's not popular. It's just the fact that it's like, what are you going to do with Finn Balor? And I think and to me, it's a lot of that going on in wrestling. Like, it's like, you got Finn Balor, Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, all of them feel like they just get lost in the shuffle. To me, it's like, if I use a basketball term, they're the mid-level exceptions right now. And, at one point in time, they wasn't that. But I would love to see the club, though. I would love to see that. Put them together and let's roll with it. Let me see what's going to happen with that. I think that's one other thing that we're mixing. We're mixing a good faction. You know, and I think that could help a lot in that situation.
Floyd, you mentioned that Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens having them on separate shows. Do you think WWE did that with Finn Balor and Shinsuke Nakamura because they had so many battles in NXT?
Well, and I definitely think that. I think that's why they got, you know, because when you look at AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura on SmackDown, everybody's screaming for it because they're on the same show. And everybody wants the big match. They want that big fight. If Finn Balor and Shinsuke were on the same show, if they weren't on the same team, everyone would be, like, crying for them to be in that match because everyone loved their matches. Everyone loved their matches in NXT and in Japan. And, you know, I mean, they do work better together. So, yeah, I think that's a big thing as far as them keeping Finn and Shinsuke. I keep hearing after SummerSlam they're going to do another superstar shakeup. And I do think, because I think right now the rosters are a little uneven, and I think that'll actually help a lot. My idea has been, like, to bring Harper and Rowan over because, you know, they're completely lost on SmackDown. And, you know, just, you know, there's a way, move either Gallows and Anderson or the Revival. Me personally, I would say move Revival to SmackDown. I just think they would work better with the tag teams that are currently there. And I just think you can make some better rivalries and make the programs a little more even. I have brought this point up. Wherever Miz goes, that's going to be the best show.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how it worked out.
Yeah.
See, and my thing is the fact that with the Miz, like, you're trying to propel Dean Ambrose to be this person with the Miz. Well, we tried that. It didn't really work out that well. So let's move on. Let's try Seth Rollins. Even try Finn Balor versus the Miz. Like I said, this would be a great reason to bring back, like you said, the Bullet Club in that situation because he's got his entourage and you have the Bullet Club. You got a great thing going. You got a great thing going right there. You know, I just need them just to mix it up a little bit more. And like you said, if they do a superstar shakeup, I want to, you know, be a point, you know, think about these points and think about the things that you can do. Like, even right now, like I said, you can do that right now and keep the Miz on Raw, and you got a good faction versus faction thing going on.
Yeah.
You know, like I said.
Go ahead, Joe. My bad, Jay. You know, Floyd, because, you know, I saw, is it Cody Rhodes? Cody Rhodes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Him, Brandy, his wife, they have a Bullet Club type thing going on. Is New Japan?
Yeah, they are actually.
Is that what Cody is?
He is actually in the Bullet Club, yes.
Now, how great would this be? Is that you have a Bullet Club New Japan, you have a Bullet Club WWE. You know, it's like, okay, they're clearly not the same under the same umbrella, but you pretty much getting, you know how we call it, repped. You got the Bullet Club getting repped in two different promotions.
Yeah.
You know, and you have guys who have been in both, like, you know, Anderson and Gallows, and, you know, I don't know, maybe AJ Styles will pull the Bullet Club shirt on SmackDown one day, but how cool would that be? Similar to how, I guess you could say it in NWO back in the day, but you have the Bullet Club, you have this entity being repped in two different organizations. I think that'd be pretty cool.
And it would, you know, it really would be cool. It's one of those things where the WWE as a company would have to work something out with New Japan to use the trademark. But most importantly to me, they would have to realize that there are good things created outside of the WWE. You know, the Bullet Club is the Bullet Club is the hottest storyline, the hottest faction in the world right now. It's not even close. I mean, you see Bullet Club is at every show, no matter what the company. I went to a little rinky-dink local show, you know, and you know I am all about supporting local wrestling. But I would say this was one of the shows that why people don't support local wrestling. But even there, I saw 4 Bullet Club shirts. 4 Bullet Club shirts. It's like every show in the country you're going to go to, and where wrestling is being done, you're going to see a Bullet Club shirt. So whether the WWE decides that they want to do it like that, the faction-based system or not, the Bullet Club or the club is something that really, really they need to take advantage. They need to take advantage of it. It's something that's already over. You don't even have to do anything with it. The name is over. All they pretty much have to do is the same things that they're doing in the other promotions that a lot of people like Jason haven't seen. So it would be fresh and new for people that only care about the WWE product, which, you know what, used to tell people, well, you know, that's like putting blinders on. But now with NXT, SmackDown being its own brand, 205 Live, you can watch 15, 16 hours of wrestling a week and it just be WWE. Me personally, I don't really have a lot of time for any other wrestling.
Yeah, you know what? Jason, I hear some frustration in Floyd's voice, and I'm going to explain. When Gallows and Anderson, when they made their debut, remember that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That audience, and I was at home, was chanting Bullet Club. When those first guys, because they were so known for being the Bullet Club. I think some of Floyd's frustration is, these two guys are going to come in, hauling ass, kick everybody's ass, yada, 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 and it didn't happen.
Yeah, and they're like 80s Revenge of the Nerds.
I knew it, Jason. I knew
it. And they're like 80s Revenge of the Nerd characters right now. But the thing about it is, they're not the lead guys of the Revenge of the Nerds. They're the two guys that stand behind the main jock and yell it, but they don't have a main jock in front of them. So they're not Lois. They're not Lois. They're Booger and Lamar. Yeah. So you got these two sidekicks that don't have a guy that's leading them, and it's not really. I mean, again, in Japan, you don't have to cut promos. Me and Jason we were just talking about this. How there's generally one promo at the end, after the end of the show, the last guy that wins, he goes back and they cut a promo. That's it. That's all the promos you get in Japan. So to expect Gallows and Anderson to talk a lot, that's not really their strong suit. So they need a guy. I don't know if it's Finn Balor. I don't know if it's AJ Styles. Shit, I don't even know if it's Triple H. Maybe he joins up with them in a group. I don't know, but they need that guy in front of them to really, really drive home the fact, because these dudes are two amazing workers. And Carl Anderson is probably one of the best wrestlers in the world, and it's just they're not really appreciated for what they are, because they're kind of on their own. They're like, oh, okay, we're goons, but who are we goons for?
Yeah, right.
So
and that's the thing, is like you ain't even gotta call them the Bullet Club. You can just have them all come together, like, you know, have them come together with Finn Balor.
Yeah.
Of course, everybody already knows that they're all the Bullet Club, but it still gives you some kind of pop. That's what they need. Is they need that pop. They need that all three of them need that push to get over. Like Finn Balor had that push, and unfortunately he got injured. And like you said, when the Gallows and Anderson came out, you know, everybody screamed Bullet Club. At least take advantage of that. You know what I'm saying? It's like they don't want to take advantage of what they can. It's like they trying to, we're gonna make you think this certain way about these people. Well, then they get pushed in the back, and then people forget about them. Then they want to say, well, it's not our fault. Just say y'all didn't, you know, you're not good for fans. No, they were good for fans. Just listen to the fans sometimes. That's all we're saying.
Yeah, and the great thing is you put them together and you just watch Twitter. You watch Instagram. You watch any social media site. The fans will name them. They will give them a new name. That is one thing fans are really, really good at. I mean, like the Four Horsemen.
Right.
The Four Horsemen, you know, they didn't. It wasn't setting it back in a production meeting. Oh, we're going to make y'all the Four Horsemen. No. Fans started bringing up signs that said the Four Horsemen. They were like, okay, that's what we're going to call ourselves. And then they trademarked the name. Just kind of let it happen. You know? I that's all. I've always been more organic. Let things more organic come out. the whole tease, the last thing we're going to talk about on Raw is the whole tease of the Shield. I think this is falling flat because Roman Reigns is tied up in another feud, so you're never getting the full Shield. And I don't think a lot of people care about Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins tagging up. If you want the Shield, you want the whole Shield. You don't want two out of three members. I don't know. What do y'all think about that?
No, I agree. I mean, you can't have the Jackson 5 with Marlon, Tito, and Jermaine. I mean, you need Michael, and you need Jackie. And it's like this whole Shield reunion thing. It's whenever they teased it, whether it was a pay-per-view, whether they were on Smack, whenever three of them just ganged up and whooped people's butts, that was good. But I don't like it. I mean, because again, it's clear, like you just said, for Roman Reigns is so engulfed with Braun Strowman and Samoa Joe and winning the title, Brock Lesnar, and all this other kind of stuff. He's not going to be a part of it. It would be a surprise if he did come out, but he's not going to. So I don't see what they're doing. And I've seen some polls and stuff online. There's a lot of people who do not like Dean Ambrose. They said that he had the most promise from a mic skill talking point of view when they first debuted in WWE, him, Seth, and Roman. But if you look at his run, Dean Ambrose run, and I think the guy's successful. He's making money. He's had main event matches and yada, yada, yada. But if you look at, Seth Rollins got hurt. He got hurt twice. But, I mean, he's coming back, and I like Seth Rollins. He's very athletic. I like Seth Rollins. Roman Reigns is where Roman Reigns is. But I think it feels like Dean Ambrose is kind of the weak link out of that group. I don't necessarily 100% agree with that, but there's a lot of people who feel that Dean Ambrose he has this, I'm by myself, I don't care, I'm going to do whatever I want to do, I'm going to talk a little bit, let's fight. And if you look at Dean Ambrose, his personality, if you watch when he was talking on the Stone Cold Steve Austin podcast, if you see him on the Total Diva show with Renee, he's really, really laid back. He puts on his shades, and he kind of like just sits back in the cut, like we used to say. He doesn't, I'm not saying he doesn't have personality, but he's not a very vocal guy at all. So he's not, and Roman Reigns isn't either, but, Dean doesn't have that Roman Reigns look. And so I'm not disappointed in Dean Ambrose, but I'm hearing a lot of wrestling fans starting to come out and say, you know what, they don't like his character. It's getting old. It's getting stale. And I just want to know, is this something to kind of shoot in the butt, or is it something else?
Well, I'm one of the vocal people of this. My problem with the Shield, in general, those three people, Roman Reigns is still the same Roman Reigns he was in the Shield. Dean Ambrose is still the same Dean Ambrose he was in the Shield. Seth Rollins, he's the only one that's really had any type of character development since he left the Shield. So I think that's what it is. It's just Dean Ambrose is boring. He is boring. he is supposed to be this lunatic fringe, unpredictable character, but he's so predictable. He's going to bounce off that ropes with that stupid clothesline like 9 times a match. And it's just like, I don't care who you are. It's like if you do something unpredictable in a predictable way, the thing is you're supposed to be this character where we never see what's coming, and we always see what's coming.
And Floyd, I mean, would you say that his match with Chris Jericho was a fail?
His match with everyone has been a fail.
His match with Brock Lesnar, was that a fail?
That was absolutely a fail. It's like
now here you got two of the biggest names, because both of those were Mania matches. Am I correct?
Yeah.
And both of them stunk.
Yeah. I mean,
okay.
Yeah. I mean,
I just want to throw it out there.
His match with TLC with AJ Styles for the title, or AJ wins or whatever, that was probably the only, I would say, good to great Dean Ambrose match. He puts on a lot of average matches. And, a lot of people call him Phone It In Dean. And then he's like, you know, a lot of people are like, well, I've been the world champion, all that stuff. You can't really use those accomplishments when they're given to you. I mean, this is where it's like it's a work.
Right.
If they put a title on you, like, I was the world champion. No, tell me a time where you took someone's breath away. And I don't think that's happened since he's left the Shield.
I agree.
Yeah, and that's why I feel like they're pushing the wrong people. It's like you're trying to push Dean Ambrose, but like I said, you got just like you're pushing Dean Ambrose, but you got Bray Wyatt here. Like I don't even know what he's doing. It's like he's probably the one person on Raw you should be pushing the most, you know. And it's just like, what are you doing with Bray Wyatt? It's like he just shows up every now and then. It's like, oh, I'm finna feud with this guy, and then he disappears. You know, and it's like, it shouldn't be that way. But with Dean Ambrose, like I said, it's boring. I just, you know, when Dean Ambrose is on TV, I change the channel. There's no point in me watching this. You know, because I already know what's going to happen.
I've never understood the Bray Wyatt thing.
And it hurts. It hurts that Dean Ambrose was a part of that LeVar Ball segment, too.
Yeah. Well, that to me, that was a personification of what Dean Ambrose is. Something that had a lot of promise that end up falling flat.
Yeah.
But
that was horrible.
Bray Wyatt, me and Jason were at WrestleMania 30, and Bray Wyatt, other than Dean Ambrose, other than Daniel Bryan, was the most over person there. And we were like, he's gonna be the world champion within a year. Nope. Well, okay, he's gonna be a world champion this year. Nope. He finally wins the world title. Oh, they're about to finally give him his long run as Bray Wyatt. Nope. It's like they've decided he can't be the number one guy, even though he is. You know, fans want to follow Bray Wyatt. Whether he's a good guy or a bad guy, they want him to be the number one guy. But for some reason, the WWE doesn't want it either. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Do you remember that, Jason, as far as how over Bray Wyatt was at 30? Jason?
Oh yeah, he was so over. It wasn't even. It was so like even when they was even said, like, you know, we can see what they're going to do before it happens on the TV. But they were setting up the thing, and you could just feel the energy in the whole Superdome. That, you know, hey, Bray Wyatt's going to come. I mean, people was getting their phones ready even before they even turn off the lights. You know, so they want to follow the buzzers. I want to follow the buzzers, no matter what. Like, even like I'm going to use my kids. I'm going to use my kids as the reaction. Like, my son loves it, but my daughter don't like it because it looks scary. But she stays tuned in with it because she wants to see what happens after. You know, it's intriguing. It's something different. It's entertaining, and it's like they could have took that to astronomical ways with Bray Wyatt and the whole following and everything. But like they usually always do, they just let the good stuff die off, and then let's push this person. Let's make Roman Reigns look strong.
Make him look strong, damn it.
Make him look strong, damn it.
All right. So,
I don't care by any means.
Well, let's move on to this week's SmackDown. Jason is one person that he may or may not watch SmackDown. He's been watching it, I think, pretty consistently lately. Yeah, your boy guy came back this week. What did you think of SmackDown overall, Jason?
Oh man, that's what made it a great show was Chris Jericho. He came out and, you know, and they kind of did it right. They did it within the first 30 minutes. You gotta win. Like for me, you gotta win me over in the first 30 minutes. If you don't win me over in the first 30 minutes, it's depending on what's gonna happen. I might watch this. I might get on the PS4 or whatever. But they came out, you know, and they didn't have, you know, they started off with AJ Styles, which is a good thing, and then Chris Jericho came out. I was like, oh, okay, because I wasn't expecting that at all. He came out. I was intrigued. It got me to watch the whole show, even though, you know, they could have done anything up to that point. But I generally, this SmackDown was a decent SmackDown. It was something worth watching. Like, it wasn't a point where I was like, man, let me change the channel, you know. And then I think that's another little marketing thing they're trying to do, because I think they know people change the channel on them. So that's why they do the whole commercial end times with the wrestling and everything. So they try to keep you engaged but still do the commercials. And I kind of see what they're trying to go with that, because I feel like that's what's happening, because I usually literally change the channel a lot on SmackDown. But this week, they captivated me with Chris Jericho, so I stayed tuned in. The whole the one part I will say, the whole Super Cena part was kind of weird, but I did like that they're doing something different, because I just knew that he was going to fight Jinder. I was like, okay, they're going to put him against Jinder and have their whole thing and all this other stuff. But I did like the little turn in that too. So this week SmackDown was kind of unpredictable, and I like that. I don't want to go into the show thinking, well, this is going to happen, this, and the show's over. So, and in general, I would give it if it was me and I'm giving it a grade, I would give it a B, because it was a very intriguing, unexpected turns happening at, and I liked it.
Anything else? You said you brought on the Cena thing from it. What about you, Jeff? What memorable moments from SmackDown?
Okay. All right. This is okay. I'm going to go back to Battleground, because everyone was so upset with the Battleground pay-per-view. And then look what SmackDown does. Boom, they hit you with Chris Jericho. And I'm like, this is what irritated me about Battleground, because SmackDown is so good, in my opinion. When Chris Jericho music hit, it's like, okay, yeah, I know a lot of people may have forgot that he's still on the roster, even though he does Fozzy and he does all these other things. But I'm like, okay, I want to see what happens now. You bring Chris Jericho back with his mic skills, with his wrestling ability, and how excited the crowd is going to be when he comes out. Oh, back in the day, they would do stuff like his own pay-per-views, but I understand I'm doing it now. But it was really, really refreshing for Chris Jericho to come back out. I thought that was sweet. Normally, with a person like him, that's after SummerSlam, that's after a big, big pay-per-view, not Battleground. But right after Battleground, here comes Chris Jericho. And to me, he made that triple threat match at the end way better. And I'm not knocking AJ Styles and Kevin Owens. I love those guys. But it was great to have Chris Jericho in there in the ring with them. I thought that was cool. I'm getting tired of Shinsuke Nakamura and Baron Corbin. Hopefully that's over. I'm going to move on. Lana. Oh, Lana. The crowd started to chant, "You can't wrestle."
Yeah.
And not to knock, because I know she's been working hard at the Performance Center and all of that, but whenever you get that "You can't wrestle" chant, Eva Marie got it. Similar when John Cena, when he used to wrestle and the crowd would start chanting "same old shit" because he did the same old shit.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I feel bad for Tamina, Becky Lynch, and Charlotte more than I do Lana, because they're in the ring with her, and it feels like she's holding them back. And okay, you can look pretty, but so much, and that's okay if you're a valet. But when you're in the ring, and it just looks bad, it's just because we all know how good Becky Lynch is. We all know how good Charlotte Flair is. In my opinion, I think Tamina can hold her own, but Lana in there is like, okay, let's hurry up and get the Mae Young Classic finish so we can get some girls up there quickly. Please, hurry. Jinder Mahal, that me and Floyd talked about. That's that whole USA versus USA versus the world type of deal. John Cena's going to win that match, and that's going to set up for SummerSlam. He's going to have his patriotic flag again. Jinder Mahal's going to have I like the modern day Maharaja. He's going to have his crew, and that's going to be a good match. I think that the build to it is going to be good too. Hopefully, it's good. I mentioned Lana, did I? Okay, we're not going to talk about her again. The New Day.
Wow.
I am a big fanboy of the Usos being heels. I really am. And to have the New Day come out, and here comes Jimmy and Jay just kicking their butt, I loved it. If I would have been there in that crowd, all the New Day fans would have got so mad at me, because I would have been screaming my head off. That was great. And I really like. It's one of the best views to me in WWE right now, on the mic, in the ring. I think the Usos and the New Day, I think that has been perfect, and I look forward to see what these teams are going to come up with and do every single week on SmackDown. And I know, Jason, you may trust me. Watch watch the segment with the New Day and Usos, whether they're rapping, whether they're wrestling. You'll like that, man. That's pretty entertaining. Those 5 guys are really entertaining.
And I forgot to mention that. Yeah, I do love the Usos and New Day thing. That's a good. They square off very well, and I love that. I love the whole energy and everything with that. I forgot to mention that, but yeah, that's a really good point that you made. And I like them though. I love that whole thing.
And Floyd and Jason, the finisher to the triple threat match with AJ Styles when Kevin Owens did the move on Jericho, and AJ came in, threw Kevin Owens out, and won the match. What made that so great to me is that Kevin Owens' reactions, because let's be honest, he would have did the exact same thing and won.
Mm-hmm.
He would have. And I think that's what made it. But AJ Styles kind of beat Kevin Owens in his own way, really. Because, Kevin Owens did the move. Boom, here comes AJ, pushes him out, and then wins the match. And if you look at it, that's kind of a heelish move. If Jericho would have been a heel, for example, he would have did that move. It's rare. You don't really see a face because let's be honest. AJ is a face at this point. It's pretty funny. It kind of throws you off to see a face doing a heel move. That was a heel move, and they can build on it. And Kevin Owens, I'm excited to see where they go from here. Now I know Jericho. He's part-time. Floyd, you may know the answer. I don't know. Is Jericho going to be? Is he on every show from here on out, or how are they going to go?
You know what? This is going to hear something you very rarely hear from me. I don't know. I was as shocked as anybody when Chris showed up this week. I have no clue what his status is. Maybe they just felt like
there's a pipe bomb right there.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe they felt SmackDown just needed that shot in the arm for a week. Maybe we don't see Jericho next week. Maybe they just because it hasn't been flat for about a month. SmackDown.
Floyd, do you think it's because some of the negative backlash they got with Battleground, they had to do that with Chris Jericho?
That's
Chris
Jericho's
always down to show up. So yeah, let me just say this: from the hardcore crazy fan, AJ Styles and Kevin Owens have no chemistry together. It's like their last 2 matches. Like, when they were just fighting each other, you expect that to be a 4-star, 5-star type match.
Yeah, the Battleground one was not good. You're right.
They were like, and the Battleground one was just boring. I was ready to go to sleep. Jericho added something. Jericho added something to that group. It made it entertaining. That match, that triple threat match as a main event, was so good. It was such a good match, as in, it was entertaining through the match. And it's I don't know, AJ and Kevin Owens kind of work that methodical type of pace doing it. They don't hit a lot of, AJ is explosive. He'll just set up his moves and then he'll hit a bunch of moves all together. So it might not work without Kevin Owens, because Kevin Owens works a slow slide. He works a very... you got to sell. He'll put you in the chin lock for 5 minutes or whatever, and that might not work well with AJ Styles. But it's 2 people, as you both may know. They're 1 and 1A as far as my favorite wrestlers in wrestling right now. And it was just I was expecting so much from that rivalry, and it's kind of laid flat for me. I don't think they're not working hard. I just think their styles might not, for lack of a better word, not to be punny, their styles clash. So we look, but the Jericho thing, starting off the show,
and to kind of piggyback on that, I'm sorry,
go for it.
Oh, I was just saying, I'll just piggyback off of that, like you said that now when I'm watching it, to me, I think they was working pretty well with each other with their limits and everything, and like you said, they set up for everything. Like with Kevin Owens, he's got to put you in a chin lock for 5 minutes or whatever, do after he does his rolling cannonball. But I could see where it was starting to kind of get stale, even though they had the little surprise in Madison Square Garden and all the other stuff, but you could tell it was getting stale. So it was hey, especially at the Battleground, it was we got to do something, So I don't know if that was, like you said, with Chris Jericho, even if it was a one-time thing, it was a good one-time thing. It was something that kind of give it a buzz. And maybe they can to me, it ain't got to be Chris Jericho. You can bring somebody else in it, for a triple threat, but just make it somebody worthy of it, somebody with pop.
I got a question for both of you. Where do we go? Where do we go now with Randy Orton? Do we go Baron Corbin? Do we go Rusev? Well, what are they going to do now with him?
I think, to me, the best idea would be to do a Baron Corbin, Rusev, Randy Orton triple threat match, and the winner becomes the number one for the contender against the champion right after SummerSlam, because that would be the best way to keep them all relevant and make their matches matter.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think that's what I was feeling about Randy Orton. I'm like, man, Randy Orton, I don't know what you're going to do with Randy Orton at this point in time.
Yeah, he was supposed to have a long title run. I mean, the Jinder Mahal thing came out of nowhere. Jinder was supposed to lose, and that was supposed to set up Randy Orton to feud with AJ Styles, and it was supposed to take us through SummerSlam. That was the report that we got out at the beginning of the year. But then the whole Jinder Mahal thing, and he caught fire, and everybody got behind him. Then you have the 1.3 billion people in India, as in, I know that because they bring it up 10 times every show. They did behind Jinder Mahal, and they tried to give him his title run. And it's funny, I was very about Jinder Mahal winning the title. I felt like they kind of went flat with him being the champion at this point. I don't think they've gotten everything out of it. And I think it mostly has to do with that he had 3 matches with Randy Orton. I felt like he should have moved on. Like, he won the title, he beat the rematch, they should have moved on. The Punjabi prison match didn't do anything for Jinder Mahal. It just made him look like an even weaker champion. So,
and Floyd, I want to throw this in too. The SmackDown that I attended in San Antonio and a couple other ones, Jinder Mahal is the champion, but have y'all noticed that a lot of his things here lately, he hasn't been the last segment on SmackDown. He's like
still
in the middle.
mid-carder. He's still the mid-carder. The most
Thank you.
Yeah, the most important title on SmackDown is the U.S. title.
Exactly. Which doesn't make and from a fan's point of view, it's like, okay, this guy's the champion, but here he is in a seg 3. You know what I'm saying? Right after Aiden English and Ty Dillinger. Okay, bam! Here comes the champion, and he may have a squash match. He may talk, and then for the last 30 minutes, we're going to focus on Charlotte, Becky, and then whatever John Cena and AJ Styles and Kevin Owens are doing. Like it's like let's be honest, he's kind of forgotten about. And like Floyd just said, that Punjabi prison match. Let's be real. More people was coming out of that talking about what are they going to do with the Khali. And me bringing Randy Orton way more than Jinder. It's like he's the third wheel, and he's the champion.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's true. It's like I said, it was just like when JBL. That's who his comparison has been running with is JBL, and the whole thing with JBL was, I mean, he was clearly the main guy on SmackDown. I mean, he would of course fight the weakest people he could fight because that was him being a heel champion to win. And it was just like that clothesline from hell. It really drove home the fact that he was the champion then. And it's just like, I felt like they've fallen flat with Jinder Mahal. I feel like once he loses his title, he could go back to mid-carder in irrelevance, very easily.
Yeah.
And it was just like, but
so Floyd, you think he's in a Jack Swagger type of spot?
Yes, very much so. And it's just, but they're going to do, because it's what the character that they've chosen. It's an outdated character. Just because you like your country doesn't mean you hate America, And it's an outdated character.
Right.
And now, not only is it an outdated character, they got Jinder Mahal and Rusev. So it's really, really falling flat because you got 2 characters playing the same role, and it feels like I'm watching literally like 80s, not 80s WWE, but 80s like USWA. It was like the 3rd best company. It's like really lame.
Yeah. Have we seen a Randy Orton Shane McMahon feud?
No, but I think we're about to. That was the next thing I was going to say. I think we're about to get a Kevin Owens Shane McMahon feud. I think we're going to get KO and Shane McMahon at SummerSlam.
Yeah, come on. Now, Fly. Jason can tell you I'm a Shane McMahon mark. Shane is my guy because he wrestles in sweatpants and Jordans. Come on.
Yeah.
And I'm the same way with Shane McMahon. I love me some Shane McMahon. He's basically us, but he's got the funds to actually go out there and wrestle.
And Shane is what, 40? Is he 49? 50 years old?
Yeah, he's up there.
Man, he looks good for his age though.
Yeah, I think he needs to win one of these matches though.
Well, yeah.
I mean, I think KO's the perfect person to do it for. If you think about moving KO back to Raw afterwards, but because the whole thing with Shane is all his matches are he gives the guy a good challenge and then loses. I think they really need to drive home the fact that he is someone that is dangerous and can win a match. And, a lot of times he beats the respect out of people. But KO went at him last week, and then he did the thing where he tore up the announce area. I just think it is just begging for KO versus Shane feud. And hopefully that makes he leaves AJ Styles with Chris Jericho. The rumors I've been hearing on the internet is that it's the whole Shinsuke and John Cena match is going to end with Jinder Mahal interfering, and then it's going to be a triple threat match at SummerSlam, which I think is the best thing. I think it's the best thing because you won't get John Cena and Jinder Mahal focusing on the America versus India thing. It'll be, hey, who is the champion type thing.
And also, fellas, we have to, because this is very, very popular, the whole Breezango thing.
The fact that it wasn't on the show was so weird.
Yeah, that was. And I was like, okay, maybe one of the commentators, someone can mention quickly, okay, Breezango hasn't been seen since Battleground. You know what I'm saying? There was no mention of that at all.
Yeah. They gave the triple threat 26 minutes. And I think he went right till 9 o'clock. So I think that is I think they're probably saving the segment for next week because that triple threat was so important. And like I said, they put on a good show. I would like to say, it'd be different if I was like, man, that was an average show and we didn't get Breezango. It was like a good show and then we didn't happen to get Breezango, which to me keeps that storyline fresh. Because, of course, I think it's going to be Harper and Rowan. That's always been my thought process.
Yeah.
I've never read that anyway. Yeah. It just comes off as Harper and Rowan. So, obviously, because they haven't been on the show, at all in, a month or so.
Yeah, so, it's been a while. Now that you mentioned it, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, so it's it's leading up to Harper and Rowan. So, and I think that's a good, it could be a good feud for them if Rowan and Harper actually sell for the smaller guys. But yeah, to me, SmackDown was a solid show, and it was funny. I did want to say this. Shout out to Nakamura and Baron Corbin. They did the match on Tuesday that they should have done on Sunday. It was hard hitting. They were selling.
Yeah.
It was strike based. I mean, it wasn't a great match by any means, but it at least looked like they both wanted to be there. And Sunday, it looked like they phoned it in. They just okay, it's ending on the DQ. We don't care.
so it seemed like they folded in on the whole Battleground. So
yeah, Battleground seemed like phoned in at all. So that is the week in SmackDown, Raw and SmackDown. I'm just neither one of you watch NXT, right?
I do, but I didn't catch it this week.
Yeah, NXT, good show. They really drove home the fact Hideo Itami and Cassius Ohno, they were the main event, and Hideo Itami officially went heel where he beat up Cassius Ohno and hit him with 2 Lotus Sleeps. And so it looks like we're going to get that match at TakeOver Brooklyn. And it also looks like we're going to get Authors of Pain versus Sanity at TakeOver Brooklyn. Which, and then they officially announced Ember Moon versus Asuka at TakeOver
nice.
Brooklyn. Personally, I don't know if either one of you watch Asuka. She hasn't lost the whole time she was in NXT. Me personally,
I watch Asuka.
I don't think she should lose at all. I think Asuka should go to the main roster undefeated, and main roster undefeated, debut on SmackDown or Raw. Maybe win the title. I don't know if I want to give her the title the first night because I just don't. That's a whole. I don't think her real style is going to play on the main roster like it does in NXT. The only way it works on NXT is that she's so dominant. So we like to see what happens there. But are either one of y'all familiar with Ember Moon or Asuka?
I am.
Yeah.
I'm familiar with both of them, but y'all already know I don't watch NXT.
Yeah, Ember Moon.
I'll let y'all tell me about it.
She's from Houston. She trained with Booker T. Of course, he's gotten a lot of people trained. They got another guy. His name was Brendan Williams, and he played the NFL. He's in NXT now. A lot of people coming from Booker T's school get to NXT.
Yeah, the
doing something
Usos
right.
came from Booker T's school.
Yeah, so he's doing something right. Because he's sending a lot of people. He trained the Usos because Booker T on commentary, he'll remind you every good thing he's ever done ever in his life.
Right.
He's like, man, I took an amazing dump before this show started. It was probably the best dump ever. I love that. I love that about him because he brings it. Because it's like it's not a heel character. But if you say something that Booker T's done, he's going to remind you before he goes on to the next point.
Right.
Floyd, some of the funniest stuff, man, was when his brother was on commentary in the WCW days.
If
you want to hear something funny, go back and listen to Stevie Ray when he was on commentary.
He was so politically incorrect. He called women snatches. That's what he called them.
No, you can't do that.
He called them snatches. He said, "I need to get that snatch out of here." And he called them that, and no one ever called him on it in WCW. I was like, do you know what he's calling people? No, my God. Me and Jason used to crack up about that.
Yeah, that used to have me cracking up, boy.
Oh, he was funny.
Yeah, and he was getting paid. He had a guaranteed contract, so WCW was like, we got to do something with you. So they threw him on commentary, and it's like, if you want to talk about how different the world is from when we were in high school to now, all you have to do is throw on a Stevie Ray commentary.
Right.
Floyd and Jason, I mentioned to you guys both. Floyd, how much time we got left, Floyd?
Oh no, we got time.
Okay, we were talking about doing, since there's these superstar shake up and all this stuff. I had an idea. I said, you know what? Why don't me, Jason, and Floyd? Why don't we come up with an all-time roster? We can do 5 guys each, 6 guys each, and what we'll do, we'll put it on the club's page, and we'll let the club vote to see who has the best roster. And obviously, we don't have enough time to do 15 people each. But I was thinking about having some fun and doing that.
Yeah, I was just actually about to introduce that. The only thing I say, you can do 5 guys. Do you want to do current or you want to do all time, right?
All time. And you know what, Jason? I think we should let Floyd pick first.
Let me pick first? I was gonna let y'all pick first. Because my wrestlers are gonna be. I was gonna say I would give it to the casual fan and let Jason go.
Okay. Go ahead, Jason.
Oh, y'all want me to go?
Yeah, I was gonna pick 3. And you know what? Nobody duplicate. If you
nobody duplicate. Nobody duplicate.
You get who's left. I'll take number 3 in this case. So first ever Around the Ring fantasy draft commences now with the first pick. We got the chairman of Around the Ring, Jason Thread. Who you got?
Oh, his pick, and then we can then he'll hopefully jump back on.
I'm guessing.
All right, Floyd.
First pick
Jason took Hogan,
right?
Yep.
Yeah. I've known him. We've known each other our whole life, so I knew his first pick was going to be Hogan. That was on me. I accidentally hit my right power key on my phone, and if I'm on my computer. And if y'all don't know what that does, it puts your whole computer to sleep. So it ended every connection that I was on. It's happened to me before, but generally Dave is running the recording, so it really doesn't affect a lot. But with us, it kicked our ass. And it kicked our ass. So that was on me. Apologize for technical difficulties. You probably won't even hear it because Dave will probably clean it up. But who is the first pick in our draft was the immortal Hulk Hogan. And Jeff, with the second pick, who you got?
I'm taking the cornerstone, the quintessential, the locker room leader, the great Undertaker.
All right, with the second pick, Jeff goes with the Undertaker. Me?
Boom.
Me? To me, you got to start off. I like to elaborate why I pick my picks.
No, go ahead.
You got to start off with. You got to come with who can have a great match with anybody, because you got to have your big men, your small guys, everything. You're trying to put together a person that can have a great match with anybody. My number one pick is probably one of the greatest performers of all time, the HBK, the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels.
Oh, okay. Good pick. Good pick. I mean, you can't go wrong with him. I mean, he pretty much, for his height, and, he's overcome a lot. If you look at Shawn Michaels, where he first started, and the Rockers, until all the way up to where he is now, and how he really did it. Well, one thing you got to respect about Shawn Michaels is that he did it his way. Now, was that always the most popular way? No, maybe not. But you can never discredit what he did in the ring with Bret Hart, with Sid, with Diesel, the Royal Rumbles he won, the Undertaker's at the end, Triple H. I mean, it goes on and on and on and on and on. So that's definitely a good pick.
Yeah, while we wait on Jason's pick, we can kind of go through that first round pick again. I mean, he goes with Hulk Hogan, his all-time favorite wrestler. Again, like a lot of hardcore fans don't like Hulk Hogan because they respect him, they don't like him because, he was limited in ring. But his charisma outside of the ring, what he brought to the character was so amazing. Like I said, top 5 heel, top 5 face. He's one of the few wrestlers that win both of the awards for being the face and the heel of the year. I mean, that is so impressive if you think about the day and age of wrestling, that you can't, you've had people that, let's say The Miz, top 5 face. Top 5 heel. I wouldn't even rank him in the face. When he was a face, he pretty much went away. And he was unimportant to the roster for that 10 seconds that he was trying to be face. So it's really hard once you find your natural character to be good at both. I think HBK was good at both. I'd say top 5 face, top 10, top 15 heel, that kind of thing. Because even when DX, to me, when you're a heel, people got to hate you. In DX, they were the Bullet Club before they were Bullet Club, because they were the cool heels. It was like, hey, you're a heel, but everybody cheers you every time you come out. That's kind of weird. So that's why I would never rank them very high on the heel list. Undertaker, let's just say, without a doubt, I don't even think there's a conversation, greatest big man of all time.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And if you're starting a roster, he had great matches with Shawn Michaels. He had great matches with Triple H. Once he got, the first match with Brock Lesnar wasn't that great, but every match after that was great. He's...
And you know what? I think about Floyd with him. I think about the stories. And recently, you're right. Shawn Michaels, well, he's always had good matches with Shawn Michaels. But I go down the list of guys. Kane. When Kane first, repackaged for Kane. It was The Undertaker. The matches he had with Yokozuna. You know what I'm saying? The Undertaker versus Undertaker. A lot of the kids may not remember that. That whole storyline was just so well done back then in the 90s. And you can go British Bulldog. You can go Stone Cold. I mean, it's,
God, he I mean, Ron Simmons, Bradshaw, Mabel, all of them.
Yeah,
they were floundering.
the Ministry.
They were floundering until he until they used his character to make a Ministry. The APA after that, they went to being the APA. I mean, Bradshaw was nothing before the Ministry. And then he went to being the APA. They were just the Acolytes. Then they were the Acolytes Protection Agency, and it just went. It went on. Bradshaw and Farouk, they had great careers, and he was able to become JBL because of that time with the Undertaker. I'm like,
and if you look at SmackDown, there was a few years there that because once The Rock had left and all that, it was pretty much the Undertaker's show until JBL started coming on the rise. The Undertaker was SmackDown.
Jason's actually ready for us to bring him back in.
Okay.
I'll let him. He actually sent me a second pick, but I'll let him tell you. It's a big one.
Jason, you there?
No, he hasn't answered yet. He will.
Okay. He better not take my guy.
I'm pretty sure he is.
I'm back in now.
All right,
okay.
We're ready. We were actually elaborating on the first round, so I haven't even said your second pick. I'm going to let you announce it. The second round commences now. Who you got?
Since the second round, and usually the second round pick is your probably your go-to pick, and one person that's going to be your stabilized pick. And the person I'm going to go with, he was another person that pretty much trendsetted and basically had a whole era to himself. And he had other people along with him, but I think he was the forefront of this era, and that was the Attitude Era. And I think I'm going to go with Dwayne Johnson, known as The Rock.
All right. So, of course, I mean, there's not a lot needed to elaborate on, but The Rock, when he came out, he was so much different. I'm talking about not as Rocky Maivia, when he actually joined the Nation and started going by The Rock. Mm-hmm. The way he started doing things was just different than anybody else. He used the term jabroni, SmackDown.
Know your role.
Oh, know your role. Mm-hmm. Shut your mouth. It doesn't matter what your name is. It's just like all those things were stuff we never seen done before. He was the wrestling rock star, for the lack of a better term. Number one face, definitely. As far as like top 5 face, I'd say he was a top 10, top 15 heel again. He's one of those people that you can build a roster around. He always had solid matches, but I never think I would never say he had one 5-star match. But his rivalry with Stone Cold Steve Austin, he wasn't afraid to put people over. He was the person that put Kurt Angle over on his first title win. He was the person that put Brock Lesnar over on his first title win.
Yep.
So The Rock was not afraid to, even at the height of him being The Rock, he wasn't afraid to do business with the company and help people get over. So, excellent pick. So you got Hulk Hogan and The Rock. Jeff, who do you got with your second pick?
I want to say this too about The Rock. I like the way he kind of smoothly integrated. There was some hip hop in him, because even that term laying the SmackDown, I gotta remind folks that was a line that Dr. Dre said in that song Nothing But a G Thing. He said, if your woman talk ish, I'm gonna have to lay the smack down. And then boom, here comes The Rock saying that. That was pretty cool, because I remember where he got that from. But I got to stand up for my second pick. I got to stand up and dance, because whenever you're jet flying, limousine riding, kiss stealing, willing to deal, and son of a gun, woo! You got to go with the nature boy, Ric Flair.
Yeah.
Good pick.
That was an amazing pick. He was actually considered to be going to be my top pick, but I had to go. I felt like whichever one I didn't pick was gonna be gone before my next pick, so I made the choice with HBK, who I could live without. But Ric Flair, the Horseman, Evolution, everything that he's ever touched has been turned to gold. Shit. Even his genetics has made world champions. So,
yeah, I'm gonna style and profile until it's my pick again.
With my number 3 pick, I'm building up. I'm gonna build up. I'm looking at the roster and looking at it like heel face, who I want to be my main event at the show. So I'm looking at Shawn Michaels as my top heel, and if I'm gonna go my top face, there's only one person that I could go with, and that is the king of the Attitude Era, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Good pick.
Yeah, you can't leave out Stone Cold. Stone Cold, like I said, he was part of that Attitude Era. He's pretty much the one that, he was one of the forefathers of the Attitude Era, I would say, to me at least. Yeah. And I mean, what can you say about him? He was one of those guys that he was healed, he was face, but it was kind of in that he was that transition, so that's a great pick.
All right, so with the second round, at the end of the second round, Jason has Hogan and The Rock on his roster. Jeff has Undertaker and Ric Flair on his roster, and me, you got the HBK and Stone Cold Steve Austin. Jason, why don't you go ahead and kick off the third round for us, sir?
All right, for the third round, and I know this is going to probably be a pick that I know that people might not like, but I think without this guy, to me, there's no WWE. I think this guy was the person that leads it now, and he did, and he carried the torch for a long time, and hopefully when he is done and when he does finish wrestling, somebody else can carry that torch. And it is that guy, the one you can't see, John Cena.
Oh my God. You like the generational athletes. You went with John Cena. I wish I had the music to play right now. He would not make my list ever.
I know you're gonna make your list. Like you said, I'm coming from the casual fan. Yeah. I'm looking at it as if these are the people we can't live without. With the people who are polarizing figures in this. Now, is he the greatest athlete that ever came out of WWE? No. Is he the best talker that ever came out of WWE? No, but he can do a little bit of all of everything. He's kind of the cornerstone right now for the WWE. He can do a little bit of everything, and that's what I'm hoping they can find someone else, when he does get done.
He's the modern day Hulk Hogan. Definitely.
True. That is very much true.
Yeah, he took his hand from the ear and put it in front of his face. John Cena. Don't get me wrong. I respect what he's done. I respect that he has held the company on his back. I have a friend at work, and I was talking about how wrestling isn't as popular as it once was, and he was like, I've never watched wrestling. I was like, from the 90s, from the time you were in high school, name some wrestlers, and he's like, Stone Cold, The Rock, Triple H. I was like, you said that without even thinking about it. Now I was like, well, name current wrestlers. And he's like, really, the only guy I know now is John Cena. And I was like, that's the point. The wrestling isn't what it was because you had those 4 or 5 guys that even though you may have never watched wrestling in your life, you knew who they were just from being on other sorts of media. The only person like that that's transitioning like that right now is John Cena. And most people forget that Brock Lesnar is a professional wrestler.
Right.
Yeah,
and you know what, Jason? I want to say this with John Cena. I think John Cena has a lot of the tools. I mean, he's tough. I mean, we've seen several occasions where he showed that he was tough. If he's in there with AJ Styles, if he's in there with Edge and Big Show together, he can carry his own. One of the things that I respect more about him, when he used to do a lot of the rap stuff, a lot of that stuff was freestyle.
Yeah,
he did not set that stuff up and memorized it and all before he came out there. I thought that was real impressive, especially going in front of 30,000 people and just kick a rhyme and don't stumble over it and it makes some sense. So John Cena can talk, he can wrestle. Okay, is he as polished as a lot of other technical wrestlers? No, but when it comes down to he can't get the job done and this is just from my eyes. That first WrestleMania match against The Rock, when it was clear The Rock wasn't in real wrestling shape, really, John Cena carried him, and that's not an easy thing to do You know what I'm saying? Especially we wrestling with a guy who hasn't wrestled in a match like that in years, a Hollywood superstar, to go in there with him and carry him. And I got to give John Cena credit for that.
Yeah, John Cena, he puts over a lot of people too. I mean, you know, he tries to get people put over. You know, he takes his losses and, you know, just to help out other people. So that was another reason why I picked him, because he was, you know, even though he's a polarizing thing, but he's a good. I mean, he's a wrestler basically.
So Floyd, is it my turn?
It is your turn, sir.
Okay, you know what? For my third pick, I have The Undertaker and I have Ric Flair. On my roster, I'm going with the excellence of execution, Canada's own, Bret the Hitman Hart.
I honestly thought he'd be there. Let me just say this. Surprised that he went off at 3. I thought he'd be there a little later for me to take. Jeff snuck in front of me. Honestly, I'm like, the Attitude Era is consistently considered the best era, but I am that mid-90s era where Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart were over the top, and honestly, the WWF really focused on putting on good wrestling shows. So if you want to talk about
Floyd, I want to say this real quick, Floyd.
Yeah.
When in the Attitude Era, after Bret Hart did the whole turn thing with Stone Cold Steve Austin, when Bret Hart was whining and crying and complaining, because I went online and I watched where he cut like a 20-minute promo on Monday Night Raw by himself, and he talked about Shawn Michaels, he talked about getting cheated out of Royal Rumble. Bret Hart, to me, that heel run towards the end of his WWE in the 90s, that was so great because he made so many good points. Remember, he went and he attacked Vince McMahon when Vince was like commentating, and that was at a moment where a lot of people really didn't know that Vince was like in charge. And you know, here's Bret Hart with Brian Pillman and Owen Hart and all them, and you're like, okay, why is he yelling and screaming at Vince McMahon all the time? He's a commentator. And the time when Vince jumped into the ring to interview him and he pushed him down and he hit Pat Patterson, Bret Hart was a really, really, really good heel. You know, he I got screwed out of this, I got screwed out of that, So, and I like the fact that his match he had with Stone Cold, when Stone Cold was bleeding out, I mean, they made T-shirts from it. They done everything. Yeah. So I've got to give Bret Hart a lot of credit. You know what I'm saying? That's why I have him in. And he was a great wrestler. Wasn't the best talker, but with him, because this wrestling was so good, it really didn't matter. And I like the fact that him and Shawn Michaels had real life, real heat, but yet they were professional enough to respect each other, to go in there and have great matches. And you talk about Undertaker, you talk about HBK, you talk about Stone Cold, you talk about Ken Shamrock, you talk about all those guys that Bret Hart wrestled. Man, I got to put him in there. That's why I took him at 3.
You know what kind of ruined my childhood? I found out that whole catchphrase, "I'm the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be," was stolen.
Floyd, come on, Floyd.
No clue. No clue. I saw the movie. I saw it a little later than like the movie The Natural. Robert Redford, he's like, they were talking about this character that was kind of like a Babe Ruth type character, and he's like, he's the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. I mean, and it came out in 1984, and I was like, what? I was like, that was not a Bret Hart original? Because I honestly, I think that's one of it. I think we're definitely going to have to do this one day. We're going to have to do a top 5 wrestling catchphrases. It would definitely be in my top 5. I mean, it's as simple as it was. And it was like, even though he wasn't the greatest talker, he ended his statements with, "I'm the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be." And that was enough. That was enough.
I'm gonna talk to Dave. We're gonna have to edit that out.
Why? What's going on?
But all right, Floyd, you up, brother?
Number 3, the Beast Incarnate, Brock Lesnar. For all the reasons.
Whoa.
For all the reasons.
Oh, okay.
You want an attraction. You want somebody that brings over the MMA fans too. And to me, I want 2005, 2004 Brock Lesnar, where he was big, strong, and he he'd still bust out that shooting star every now and then.
Lord.
Yeah. I mean, there was Undertaker. I mean, in Phenoms in wrestling, there was Andre the Giant, there was the Undertaker, and then there was Brock Lesnar. He's in that same conversation. Somebody that was like from the first day he competed. I mean, 3 months from the day he debuted in the WWF, he beat the Rock at SummerSlam. Actually, I think it was like 4 months for the WWF title. He was the Phenom. I mean, I honestly don't put anybody on the level of athletic ability that I go with Brock Lesnar.
Okay.
All right. So.
All right. Yeah, I understand where you're coming from with that. Brock Lesnar, you know, he is a polarizing figure. Like I said, he's always worked well in the WWE.
Yeah. He gave me my most shocking moment. He did. He literally gave me my most shocking moment, as in WrestleMania 30 when he beat the Undertaker. I was shocked. I did not know what I just saw.
Well, yeah, that was. Well, oh my goodness! Wow, that was a wild moment.
Yeah, that was very much a wild moment. Like, you know, me and Jeff talk about it because we was talking about the biggest reactions, you know, at one point, and that came up was, you know, him beating the Undertaker. You know, even though I was in the building, and it was just like, you know, it's like, what just happened? You know, it's like, this is not supposed to happen. You know, and then of course it's with Brock Lesnar. So Brock Lesnar has his WrestleMania moments, he has his WWE moments, and that's it was a very, very solid pick. You know, I wouldn't have thought you would pick them.
Hey,
but
let me just say
I can
this.
see where you come from.
Let me just say this: I have been at every Brock Lesnar WrestleMania. His first WrestleMania was 19 against Kurt Angle.
Mm-hmm.
His 20 was, of course, his second one. I then took the same 10-year hiatus that he did, and I came back at 30, and I've seen everyone since then. So he's the one person.
Crazy.
He's the one person that I can say I've seen every match he's ever had at WrestleMania.
Wow, that's awesome, though.
Nice.
So let's see. So we're on to round 4. Jason, you have a star-studded cast with Hulk Hogan, The Rock, John Cena. Who joins those lists? That list.
Ooh, that's a. Now I even look like after I picked them, I said that's a nice list right there. But to join them, I'm going to pick this is a personal favorite here. He was the first, I think, unified world champion, and to me, he's always been a steady person. He's always, even if he's been out for a while or come back, and you know, but he's always had some niche in some way. He's either a heel or face or something. Like, I think even this last one, I think he was trying to be a heel, but somehow he turned face because of the crowd's reaction. And he's a very versatile person. And I'm gonna go with Chris Jericho, Y2J. I can still remember the first day when he came to WWF, or it was WWE at that time, and the pop that he got was just unbelievable. Like, I've never seen anything like that. I loved him when he was in WCW, and I think once he crossed over to WWE, I think that's where his fame, he jumped from a great wrestler into an entertainer at that point in time. So I'm going Y2J, Chris Jericho, Walls of Jericho. Break the walls.
Another person that The Rock put on. His debut was interrupting The Rock, and he said, "Who in the blue hell are you? It doesn't matter what your name is." And Jericho went on his thing, the Ayatollah of rock and roller. Love me some Chris Jericho. When he beat Stone Cold and The Rock in one night, that pretty much cemented his career. He could have phoned it in after that, but he continues to evolve. If it's not adding a code breaker, bringing back the list, he even just take the term, "you stupid idiot," and just took it to a whole new level. He's one of those people like Daniel O'Brien or whatever. I mean, he could rest on his laurels. He could say, "I'm going to do the same thing every week," but he doesn't. He reinvents himself every time. He takes a break, he comes back, and he adds something.
Yeah, and that's what I like about him, man. He, like I said, I think he went from a wrestler to an entertainer once he went to the WWE. Because at that point, he was a good wrestler, but he was, mid-card with Dean Malenko, Eddie Guerrero, and all them. And once he came over, it just seemed like he propelled himself. And, like you said, The Rock got him over on that, and he ran with it and carried that torch. So that's why I picked Chris Jericho. He's always been there. He's a great entertainer.
Great pick. So, Jeff, we're looking at your list. You got The Undertaker. You got Ric Flair. You got Bret Hart. All great workers. Who joins that list?
I'm going back and forth with this because, again, I expected two of my guys to be gone. I was kind of surprised with Jericho and Brock Lesnar. But you know what? I'm gonna take Triple H.
You literally stole my next pick. So, congratulations on that.
Hey, I wasn't going to. I wasn't going to, but I said, you know what? I got to be realistic. I got to look at his body of work. I got to look at his face run. I got to look at his heel run. I got to look at DX. I got to look at Evolution. I got to look at the stuff he's doing now. I don't know how much this is a factor, but I really enjoy what Triple H has done with, I guess, creating, so to speak, NXT and some of the things some of the opportunities he's giving young guys, being the fact that, he worked Shawn Michaels, he worked Stone Cold, he worked Brock Lesnar, he worked The Undertaker, he worked with, The Rock. Him and The Rock, I for some reason to me, The Rock Triple H feud kind of gets lost in the shuffle.
It really does. It does.
Because there was so many, both of those guys had so much great runs with other people, but that Rock Triple H run, even when The Rock was in the Nation of Domination, even after, that, and again, another same thing with Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels. I heard backstage, behind the scenes, those two guys weren't big fans of each other. So to me, that adds to it. That adds to the heat that both those people had with each other. And again, Triple H held his own against The Undertaker twice. He held his own against Mick Foley. He helped build Randy Orton. Let's be honest, and Triple H is right. Randy Orton was Bob Orton's kid. Batista was some big, muscled-up bouncer from Washington, D.C. He built those guys. People say, oh, Triple H doesn't get people over. Oh, Goldberg beat him. He beat Goldberg. But, you got to give this guy some credit because even though he's in a role now with what he does with NXT, that a lot of wrestlers need to be very grateful and thankful that he's in that position. You look at a lot of guys that have been pushed to NXT that we all know Vince McMahon didn't create, Vince McMahon didn't find, Vince McMahon didn't mold. A lot of that, give Dusty Rhodes credit too, but a lot of that is Triple H. And so because of everything he's done, not just in the ring, but everything he's done, I had to get him. I had to pick and put him on my list.
All right.
It's a good pick. Good pick. I thought about Triple H myself, but I figured.
Yeah, the game, man. It's just.
Yeah.
I was going to say, you want a kick-ass entrance, you go to Triple H.
Right.
I am going, this guy was going to be my fifth pick. I'm going to move him up to my fourth pick. I love it when people make me adjust a little bit. I'm going to give it to the franchise of the WCW. Jason's favorite wrestler, a man called Sting.
I was going to go Sting. Good pick. I was going to go Sting.
Shout out to Jason on that pick. I know how much he loves Sting. He's been a little stinger since Sting debuted. Scorpion Deathlock, Scorpion Death Drop, the colorful color. Then he started playing the Crow, and I loved all.
The Crow was fantastic.
Yeah, I loved all versions of Sting. He was so good on the mic.
Sorry.
He was good on the mic. And it was funny. What he does, he yells "ow" or whatever, came from where he was cutting a promo and forgot his lines, and he just screamed something. So,
nice.
One of those things. Love Sting. He was the John Cena of the WCW. He never went heel, and he was always winning. He was always there, and it was
That's why I didn't like WCW.
He was like super.
Oh goodness.
He was Super Stinger. Instead of Super Cena, he was Super Stinger. And so I got to give number 4 to one of my favorite wrestlers when I was a child, a man called Sting. So that's the end of the fourth round.
I got bored just you talking about him.
playing.
Oh, wow.
So the number 5 pick, your last pick to round out your fantasy roster, Jason. I mean, again, your list was just a bunch of number 1s, and then you came with it on that number 4 pick. I can't. Who was it? I'm sorry. I blanked.
Chris Jericho.
Jericho. So yeah. So a bunch of world champions. Who's number 5 for you, sir?
Man, you know what? I was sitting here thinking hardcore about who I was going to pick 5. I was thinking about all the old school people that came through. And, you know, I was like, man, I'm trying to think of something kind of a hipster pick. And then I thought about it. I was like, you know, a person that I really liked, and I guess I didn't appreciate it when he was there. And I'm going to go with him. It's kind of a curveball, and it's going to be CM Punk.
CM Punk.
And the reason why I picked him because now that because I remember it was not too long ago, I was at work and I was just watching a bunch of wrestling stuff just because it came up, and then I came across a bunch of CM Punk stuff, and I actually sat down and watched it, and I was like, you know what, this guy was a really good, not only was he a good talker, he was actually a good wrestler, and I think I didn't appreciate it as much like I should have. So that's why I'm throwing him as some sort of a curveball, because I know I've been going a lot of star-studded number 1s and everything. So I'm going to go CM Punk because I think it was kind of one of those things. He was kind of like the Barry Sanders. Man, he was so good, but he cut it short. You know, it's like what else could he been if he stayed in the WWE and all this other stuff? So CM Punk, that's my 5th one.
Yeah, shout out to CM Punk, because 2 things that I mean, his career, I can say, but 2 things that stick out to me. The whole CM Punk chant that we still hear, he started.
Yep.
He started in a promo. He's like, when they were doing Let's Go Cena, Cena Sucks, he told Cena, he's like, I didn't realize they were saying Cena Sucks. I thought they were saying Let's Go Cena, CM Punk. And he changed that. And that was very creative, very snarky type move that he did, which definitely shout out to for him on that one. He could definitely, they still chant it. I'm tired of it, but they still chant it. And he's pretty much the reason for Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania 30. After when Punk basically quit, said, I'm not coming back. I'm tired of you bringing in these guys and giving them the main event money. Fans backlashed. They quit watching Raw. They just turned the freaking channel. You know, like, hey, you keep shoving down these people we don't want to see, especially Batista. And, you know, but it was like it was going to be Triple H, Batista, and Randy Orton it was just going to be Randy Orton versus Batista in the main event at WrestleMania 30. And then the whole Yes movement started, and a lot of that had to do with CM Punk. I mean, that's a solid pick because he could have a great match with any of the other 4 people on your list.
Yeah.
Because him versus John Cena was my first, wow, Cena can wrestle moment.
And I did like the Straight Edge Society too. That was entertaining to me. I like that.
Yeah, but he was like that first guy that had a great match with John Cena.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Jeff.
All right, I got my 5th pick.
Yours has been the workers list.
Yeah, my 5th pick, Floyd, is 2 people. and I'm gonna say this before I make my pick. All due respect to Andre the Giant, Kurt Angle, Mick Foley, the Ultimate Warrior, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, and I even thought about maybe picking Trish Stratus to get some Stratusfaction on my list. But I'm gonna go with 2 people. I'm going to go with my favorite, the Macho Man Randy Savage, and I'm going to go with Eddie Guerrero.
I knew it.
Eddie Guerrero. I couldn't keep Macho Man off my list because I just said an hour ago he's my favorite wrestler of all time. But I have to go with Eddie Guerrero. I have to go with Eddie Guerrero also because to me, Eddie Guerrero, that whole WCW cruiserweight division, he led that in my opinion. Mask on, mask off, it didn't matter. He had charisma. When he got to WWE, he was just so good. I mean, you see a lot of superstars today paying homage to him with their frog splash off the top rope. In my opinion, he made Rey Mysterio Jr. He made a couple of guys, and I think Eddie. I really enjoyed the fact when he used to cheat in the ring, when he would hit the chair and fall down. That stuff was funny. That stuff was entertaining. Batista owes a lot of his success to him, and there's a lot of other guys. Eddie Guerrero, to me, and I know we only got the Shawn Michaels Eddie Guerrero match once, but seeing Eddie against any of these other guys on my list, Undertaker, Ric Flair, Eddie, who actually beat Brock Lesnar. It would have been great to see Eddie Guerrero up against a Stone Cold Steve Austin and stuff. So, again, you guys can give me a penalty, but I'm going Macho Man Randy Savage / Eddie Guerrero as my 5th pick. But again, much respect to Andre the Giant, Edge, Ricky Steamboat, The Ultimate Warrior, Mick Foley, Kurt Angle, AJ Styles, even the guy who's on the current roster now, and a few other guys. But I'm going to go with those two.
I love how your list of 5 has 6 people in it. You can't really argue against either one of those picks. They both did what they had to do. They were both great in what they brought to wrestling. My 5th pick is going to be the most controversial pick on this list. Jason can only imagine who this number 5 is. I think he would know. He is my favorite wrestler of all time.
Yeah, there is
the Crippler, Chris Benoit.
You can see their faces where they show videos.
Oh Lord! No, oh goodness.
I am like this, and you can ask both of you that have known me long enough. I only care about what you did when you were doing what I was watching you for. Right? You can be a great baseball player, and you can beat your wife, and I'll still say you're a great baseball player. You can be a great football player, and you can kill your ex-wife and her boyfriend. You are still a great football player. In this case, one of my favorite wrestlers. He was one of the greatest in-ring performers of all time. People can call it controversial, whatever. I'm not saying I don't care what he did outside of the ring. I'm saying I can separate the two. And purely in-ring performance, I gotta go with the man that gave me my WrestleMania moment. My true WrestleMania moment was in WrestleMania 20 when my favorite wrestler finally won the World Heavyweight Championship, Chris Benoit.
You know what, Floyd? I will say this. I've rarely gotten emotional when it comes to watching professional wrestling on TV. I mean, it's rare. It's rare. I don't think I've ever done it. The one time I did was when he beat Triple H and Shawn Michaels in that WrestleMania. That was and I was there live for Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels. But that match, seeing Chris Benoit win, that was the greatest moment I've ever seen in wrestling, because it's like you have these two monsters. You have the little bitty WCW guy, and that was a hell of a match. To see Shawn Michaels miss with his super kick and get tossed over the rope, and to see Chris Benoit put the crippler on Triple H, and Triple H flipping and doing, it seemed like it took forever for him to tap. And I'm sitting here screaming like, come on, Chris, come on. Like, I really got into that. And when Triple H finally tapped, and I give Jim Ross credit, too, when he was like, you know what, King, is there anything greater than what we just witnessed? And the way he was losing his voice when he was talking, and then when Eddie came down there and they embraced, and the whole story Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler was telling while that was going on. Now, I know, Floyd, you were there live, so you didn't hear, unless you went back and watched it later, you probably didn't hear what the commentators were saying. That was the greatest moment. That was the greatest moment in all of wrestling to me. And no disrespect to the Montreal Screwjob, Hogan turning heel, but when Chris Benoit, when Triple H tapped, that was amazing. So from his in-ring performance, and you know what, Floyd, I'm happy. We say the same thing about Michael Jackson and Floyd Mayweather and all these other people. You know, their private lives are so horrible and things that they've done, but as long as when they're performing, though, you know, they do such a good job. So I'm not knocking the Benoit pick.
WWE will not recognize anything that you guys just said. I just wanted to let y'all know that.
Well, I'd just like to let
so
you know
that moment that y'all think y'all saw did not happen.
Yeah, it did. Yes, it did.
It's still
Go to
on the
YouTube.
network. You can go watch it now for the price of $9.99. So we got our list.
Go to YouTube.
Yeah, we got our list. After the show uploads today, we're gonna put the list online, and I'm gonna put the list. I'll put it in, put it up with a voting tab, and we're gonna see whose list everybody in the club likes the best. I have a feeling it's gonna be number 2 personally, because Jason killed himself with Hulk Hogan and John Cena, and I think, and this is going to be a very in bad taste joke, but I have to say it. Like the person himself, I killed myself with Chris Benoit.
Oh, well, thank you, Floyd, for giving me that victory. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I want to see.
But Floyd, you know what? I think I'm going to fight for myself, because the person who I think that I'm going to get y'all with was Triple H, even over The Undertaker and Ric Flair and Bret Hart, is because I'm going to promote everything that he does outside of the ring.
Yeah. Everything he does.
I'm gonna talk about his influence. I'm gonna talk about NXT. I'm gonna talk about all these guys. So all the fans who are under the age of 20, they probably never even saw a Hart Foundation's match. They probably don't even know a few of these guys, but they do know Triple H though. That's why I picked them.
All right, so this is how we're going to end the show, with a little MMA. Jon Bones Jones, just a little bit, last night beats Daniel Cormier. After that MMA fight where Bones Jones beats him in the 3rd round by knockout, we had a moment. We had a moment. Jon Jones said, if you want to know what it's like to get your ass kicked by a person 40 pounds lighter than you, you know where to find me. And who was he talking to? The person on my list, the Beast Incarnate Brock Lesnar. What did you think? And I want to engage your interest on a Jon Bones Jones Brock Lesnar MMA fight. We're gonna start with Jeff.
I'm going Brock Lesnar. If Brock Lesnar decides to focus on that, and I know there's inner workings, okay, he has a WWE contract, yada, 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 but if Brock Lesnar decides that, you know what, I'm going to go this route, put my attention into this guy, then I'm going Brock. I'm going Brock.
On the scale of 1 to 10, what's your interest?
I'm going to say 8.
All right.
I'll give it an 8.
All right. Yeah, Jason, what do you think of it?
I love it. I love all aspects of this. This can't, to me, this can't do nothing but help UFC and WWE. I'm looking at it business wise. You can promote this. I mean, this is basically a super bout, just like they tried to do with Brock Lesnar when he went and did it the last time with I forgot who he fought or whatever, but they tried to do the whole crossover with him with WWE. I think this would. I mean, it's very intriguing to me. I want to know what's going to happen. I feel like it could be a massacre with Brock Lesnar just killing Jon Jones, but I want to see it. It's got it piques my interest, and on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm gonna give it an 11 because I want to see that happen. That's something, I know they're trying to do this bout with Conor and Floyd, but it's just like, Conor's never boxed nobody, like straight up boxed, and now you're trying to go after the best. Now, man,
that's gonna be 3 rounds, if that.
Yeah, and you know what I'm saying? But both of these guys are actual MMA people. When Brock was in the MMA, he was top guy. You know what I'm saying? Jon Jones, he's top guy. He's been the top guy in his weight division. I want to see that happen. That just seems like that's more intriguing to me, and actually something that could be actually really good for both for UFC and WWE.
Well, we'll end with me, who always likes to have a dissenting opinion. My opinion is I don't want to see it. My interest is a 1. 2 things being my interest. To me, Jon Jones has a hard-on for beating up old people. So he beat up a 30-year-old guy last night. Now he wants to beat up a 40-year-old guy. Now, I could see if Brock Lesnar was in his prime of his MMA career, Jon Jones versus Brock Lesnar. Yeah, I want to see it. But Brock Lesnar is pretty much, he done saved his money, and you can see he's in a situation where he's ready to just go back to his farm in North Dakota. I think he's done kicking ass. And I think of course he's going to take the match, or he's going to take the fight because he's going to make money off of it. But I just think his interest in actually winning, I don't think is there that much. And if Jon Jones wins, I'm like, he beat up a 40-year-old Brock Lesnar. And if Brock Lesnar wins, it's like you knew he was just going to get him on the ground and lay on top of him. So I don't think it's going to be an entertaining fight either way. I think it's a money grab. But I also think the same thing about Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather. It's just the fights that I think that are clear money grabs, I'm just like, If it was in a WWE ring, I'd be down because you're at least guaranteed somewhat of a good show. But it's like, oh, okay, Jon Jones comes in, Brock Lesnar somehow, manages to take him down, then he lays on him and punches him in the face for a round. So, I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, I could be completely wrong. It could be the greatest MMA fight of all time. But it's going to sell. Don't get me wrong. That shit's going to be on movie theaters. Dave & Buster's is going to have a thing where you get all the food you can eat and watch the fight. Don't get me wrong. It's going to be big. It's just I have no interest in seeing it. I will be watching it for free. But, we will definitely want to end with that because Jon Jones is right now, a lot of people have come up since then, but he's the biggest. Him and Conor McGregor are the biggest names in MMA. I even give it more to Jon Jones because he actually fights and beats up people in MMA. And I like to hopefully in the next couple years, I'd like to see him get 2-3 fights a year in. I really would rather him beat up somebody in the light heavyweight division and just prove his dominance. But to me, he missed a year or two. He missed 2 years over the last few years in fighting. Hey, go for your money grab. Get your money. Get your motherfucking movie check. Do what you got to do. You make up for that lost time. But then I want to see him. I liked him in Gustafsson. That is probably my favorite MMA fight that I've seen was Jon Jones and Alexander Gustafsson. So if I could get that fight again, I would actually pay to see that fight because it was just a really entertaining fight. But he's the best fighter in the world. He somehow dances and stays aggressive at the same time. I've never seen it. You would get the problem with Anderson Silva. You would get that he danced too much. You get, Conor McGregor's really, really aggressive. But Jon Jones backs up, but stays aggressive at the same time. Like, when he caught Daniel Cormier with that kick last night, he was actually backing up to dodge a punch and kicked him in the head. It's just, how do you back up and stay aggressive? I don't know. It's unique to anything I've ever seen. So, yes, so you guys, I think we actually did a really good show. It's going to have to be some cleanup editing from Dave, but I think we covered it good. I appreciate you both being on. Jeff, as always, you were very entertaining. Jason, thank you for bringing in the casual aspect of this world. We will definitely have both of you on. How'd you feel about your first experience?
I loved it, man. It was a great time, talking with friends about wrestling. I can't complain. I complained about when you pick, or whoever picked Sting, I almost turned the channel on you. If I could have turned the channel, I would have. But other than that, I loved it, man. I appreciate you having me on. Hopefully you have me on in future time.
Yeah, definitely. We're doing the count. We're on the countdown to SummerSlam. I'm really excited about the show. Jeff, we definitely love having you. We definitely love having you on. And I love your questions in the club. They haven't been there really lately. I need you to keep bringing them because I feel like you start the best arguments.
I do. And I do that on purpose. I am the lifelong heel.
Yeah. It's fun. Jason. We're not going to say a person's name because privacy, but he got blocked.
I was just about to mention that. I was thinking about blocking him myself just because. With that list that he came up with. Now you try to sneak in 2 people. How you have a top 5 and then have 6 people on your list? You blocked.
No,
but
see, and that's why I'm not going to agree with the Ryback here for a while because the right back he gets me blocked. He gets me blocked. That big head sucker. I'm not going to agree with him anymore.
Yeah,
that should have been. I'm gonna add him to my list. Right back is number 6.
The crazy part is he wasn't even agree. He said,
Right.
He said, I think it was stupid, but I don't think it was sexist. That's all he said.
Right.
Yeah. That's all I said.
I read it. I was like, huh? All right, well.
Yeah. So it
you
was
blocked.
I mean, you know what's funny? You know what's funny, guys? That was one of the reasons why I was going to put Trish Stratus on my list.
Oh, well, yeah.
Like I said,
I mean,
my
hey.
5, I knew Benoit was going to be my number 5 because I knew none of y'all was going to take him. But if we did it where it's like you got to pick a tag team and a woman, Charlotte would have been on my list.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's the best. She's the best I ever seen, and she's not even close to being done yet.
Yeah, and my tag team would have been the Legion of Doom, Royal Warriors, whichever one.
Mine would have been the Brainbusters.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, well, mine would have been, shoot. I don't know. I didn't even think that far into it.
And what I'll do, Floyd,
stable.
When y'all put it on there, and then I'm quite sure you'll have other club members to say, who their list would be, and we can go back and forth and have some good conversation.
Oh, yeah,
that's all it's about. So
yeah, that's what it is. It's sparking good conversation. Love it. Yeah, like I said, I really loved having y'all on this week. If you're listening for the first time and you're like, man, they naturally talk to each other. We've been doing this for 20 plus years. We've been arguing for 20 plus years. It's just, I mean, I remember in the cafeteria, one of us would just come up to the other two just with a statement. Well, like the other two have been arguing the whole time. And they're like, hey, Floyd, what do you think about this? Or hey, Jason, what do you think about this?
It wasn't no you think about this. It was a little bit different, but
yeah.
We had choice words.
I was trying to leave the expletives out of it. I was going
right.
You can't believe what this motherfucker just said.
Right.
But
I'm about to go punch Jeff in the face because he keeps talking about Oakland.
Yeah, that's why I tell people. That's why I tell people. We would argue, and we would be yelling at each other. Then the argument would be over, and it'd be like nothing ever happened. And people hate that I can do that now. And I was like, I've been doing it my whole life. I don't know what you're talking about. You argue, you make your point. We know we're not changing each other's mind. And then we move on.
That's why I'm not 100% impressed with, not to say names, but, shows that come on sports channels where people are debating and they're doing debates. I'm like, you can go to pretty much any cafeteria, playground, in America, barbershop in America, and we do that. I'm quite sure, if we go to New Orleans for WrestleMania and all of us is there, you sit 10 fans down, we're going to have a disagreement about something sooner or later. But to me, that's great. It's like freedom of expression. Like in one of my favorite interviews, when Bob Costas interviewed Vince McMahon a few years ago, and they sat down and went at it. I mean, Vince McMahon, he said he enjoys doing that. We all do. That, by the way, was one of the best interviews I ever seen. That was, if people listening, go to YouTube and type in Bob Costas Vince McMahon interview, the first one, and Vince gets upset, and they talk about it. It's great. But anyway, I really like that, and that's what we do, and we'll continue to do it. We're going to be those guys, 80 years old, in the front row, arguing and yelling at the heels and the faces. I admit I am.
Right.
Oh, no. Then we're straight coming to America Barbershop, baby.
Life, Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence.
Yeah. No. But, again, appreciate you on the show today. We're going to end the show as we always do, and I'm going to try not to mess it up this week. We want to thank you for everybody for being around the ring. Just remember, this whole thing we call life is a work. Don't forget to kick out at 2. We'll see you next time around the ring.
Peace.
Hear the drummer get wicked.